What would you call a country that has purged more than 50 million voters in the last decade alone? Many of whom were perfectly eligible to vote, but the government decided they were going to remove them anyway. You would call that country the United States of America. In the United States, over the last decade, more than 50 million voters have been purged. It's become so obstructive in states like Alabama that the DOJ has had to sue the state for purging voter rolls way too close to the election. Ohio has removed another 155,000 voters. Georgia has removed more voters than any Secretary of State in the history of the state. States like Texas alone have purged more than 1 million voters. And granted, many of these voters are deceased and should not be on the rolls, but experts estimate that hundreds and thousands of them are on what Texas calls a suspended list, an arbitrary list where the Texas government decides who gets to vote and who doesn't. In fact, 13% of Texas's 17.9 million eligible voters are on the suspended list. So if you haven't checked your status in a while, you could be denied the right to vote arbitrarily. And unsurprisingly, this voter suppression disproportionately harms people of color, Black and Latino voters, and Americans for whom English is not their primary language. Now, short of comprehensive legislation to protect voting rights, the solution right now is to check your voter status regularly. Click on the link in my bio to check your voter registration status and make sure you vote as soon as voting is allowed in your state. Look, I get the importance of keeping voter rolls accurate, but what we're seeing right now is the removal of eligible voters, and that does not bode well for our democracy.